I think it's time to address the elephant in today's conversation, or should I say monologue. I want to talk about the meditation that I did in the last video. I want to talk about why I do what I do and how do I translate these spiritual practices into a real life help and just basic exercises that can help you help your body when you are sick, when you are not feeling well, both physically or emotionally. So let's get started. Welcome again to the planet Namai. I'm still in the village or city um, of an outpost, and as you saw from like the previous videos, and I hope you saw them, I'm exploring this experience hotel in the middle of the desert in Utah, and so far it's been a great experience. But this one little thing. First night of our stay, we had a broken um, heater, and so in the middle of the night, I woke up from the feeling that something was wrong with me, and as you can see and you can hear probably from my voice, I got sick. So I got cold, and my voice is down, but I never look at things only from the perspective of viruses and microbes, and the way how most people are looking at their health is through these influences of some harmful bacteria or something like affecting them, and that they themselves are like doing everything's fine, but it's just that those like outer forces of like viruses, infections, and stuff are like trying all they can to just like ruin us. I look at health a little bit differently. I study somatics, I study trauma. I am a full-time spiritual enthusiast ever since, especially I moved to California. I'm not hesitant to transition any of my, like, let's say, like psychology, trauma treatment into just like full on spiritual practice. I don't differentiate much. For me, it's the same thing now. But today I decided to talk about it, the reason why I do it, and I'm sure that if I share it, I will open this world, this big, big world of spiritual techniques and practices to so many people that are more of a like science approach and logical approach and medicine approach, that are thinking that spirituality is this crazy little world bubble where people are in. This is not my words, and this is what I heard, because I am surrounded constantly, and most of my friends and all of my family, my big family, everybody are just on the side of this um, rationality, science, and all of that. And this is the world where I grew up, basically. And for me, personally, I don't choose. I play for both teams in the meaning of spiritual approaches and science approaches. I think both of them are completing each other and helping, for example, me when I work with my mental health or physical health, helps me to have this like complete holistic approach to my own health. So, and today I wanted to talk about it today, not in the forest, not in the desert, not in a hike, just here in my Zendom, in my little home for this past like few days, to bring in attention from people that are more of a more of a grounded people, let's say, the ones that don't appreciate those like spiritualities and cosmos stuff. So they want some rational talks, explanation, and all of that. And since I understand both of these worlds, for me it's important that people from spiritual communities and science communities, they unite and they understand each other. I, for a very long time, felt like I don't fit in, nor in the science, nor in the spiritual communities, because I see how they are all drifted apart from the center, from each other, I would say. Because for me, light and darkness, like this polarities, they still have this like one center where they unite. And I think this is where truth lies, as for me. This is my opinion. Today I must drink tea, hot tea, and I got this honey and syrups and lemons to help my voice make it through. But I asked my body, I connected to myself whether I really want to do it or should I um, just be quiet today and let my body heal. And since I did that amazing practice, I felt like my voice is slowly coming back, and now I want to talk about it. So, why do you sometimes see me doing it or some other people doing it? Like, in terms of, um, in my culture, they joke like when they want to express their feelings about how crazy it is for them, they say, "Why don't you go and like just dance with?" I forgot how this instrument called, but they just say like, well, let's say sometimes they say drum, like, "Why don't you go dance with the drum in the forest?" So this is how they want to express their like negativity, negative um, feelings about all these approaches. But I found them really helpful in times of crises, both emotional or physical health. So today I woke up feeling down emotionally. I felt horrible. I felt collapsed. I felt that I want to just stay in the bed. Usually, in times like that, I notice that I also experience, and I know how to connect to my body. I was like, I knew that I got sick because I could feel it in my sore throat and bronchitis, like, or whatever this one is called. Like, I could feel it, and I felt like, I guess I'm sick, I'm not feeling well, and that's why I'm feeling so collapsed and so close today. And then I felt like how I'm trying to run away from something, and it made me like slow down. So slowly and slowly, I was trying to connect back to my body. I noticed that something is wrong. Sometimes, disease is formed, like whichever comes first. If it's a physical disease that came first, you may not feel great emotionally because you're upset about it. That's one way for it to happen. Sometimes there's something going on within you on the emotional level. And so, if it's going on for a very long time, those little psychosomatical symptoms at some point can lead you into getting sick, either from um, more simple illnesses or more like complex that are, very, very serious. And so, actually, as a side note, when I just started studying somatics, I felt like, wow, this is the solution to all of our problems. We don't need medicine anymore. I was trying to go too much into like the world of spirituality and all of that. But then I heard all the stories where people are trying to treat incredibly serious diseases with just herbs or psychosomatic like exercise and stuff, and then most of the time it ends not well. So then I was like, where is this common ground? Where is it still a chance for a person to work with their problems through spiritual approaches, through psychosomatical, like emotional releasing and all of that, that will help the body to um, like unravel this like yarn, and then you find a problem which is like just on the emotional problem side, and then the disease just goes away. Or versus it's already something where medicine must intervene and you must start taking pills. So I usually experiment. I don't, as I said, even though I talk about spirituality, I talk about like connecting to your body, to your higher self and all of that, in order to be also healthy, both emotionally and physically, I myself still take pills. See, like, that's why sometimes when I talk to either of the teams, I'm like not fitting in with the approaches, but I am representative of both worlds, and I don't choose. For example, this is third time in this year that I lose my voice. It started in December after so many very deep and very difficult um, trauma stories processing, and the deeper you go, the deeper demons like are not demons. Okay, let me translate. The deeper traumatic stories are coming out to the surface for you to finally take a look at it and work with it. So for me, multiple, like very difficult, very serious trauma stories came out to the surface, and I started working with it. Next time the disease came back, usually, and I'm very tuned with my body. I know that about 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before, or a week before, I started doing something behavior wise, emotionally wise. For example, the last few days, I felt defensive. I felt uncomfortable emotionally. I also hiked a lot, and it's pretty difficult, challenging for my body. Hikes, extreme heat, extreme climb. So that itself can transition your body to the state of mm, survival, let's say. So, and then some stories would come up. We are constantly processing these things. Every time you are in the situation where you feel great and you have a lot of energy, imagine it like there is a waste bucket in you. And maybe you saw an Inside Out movie, one of my most favorite shows, like cartoons, so smart, so true. Every illustration is like a work of art. It's so good. So if you want to understand how it works, just watch these two cartoons and you'll understand. So in the second movie, there was an illustration of what happens when we are not dealing with reality. How joy and how all these emotions were sending elsewhere uncomfortable feelings, uncomfortable memories, uncomfortable stuff. They're sending it back, sending it back, sending it back to elsewhere. And then how one day it all rushes, you know, to the conscious level, and then you have to deal with it. So if you're not like collapsed emotionally, if you're like, I'm great, I'm okay, if you're with your body and with your emotions you feel great, doesn't mean that there's not like stored this like barrage of stored stuff within your subconscious mind. So every time you will reach a point where you're feeling great and you have extra energy, your body will try to bring something out from the storage to process it. That's why sometimes in the middle of like a great time of your life, you can start like getting sick, or you can start not feeling great. And last year, like this year, the year 2024, I would say one of the happiest years of my life, because I was able to deal with so many stuff. And it's like you're thriving, but then one step forward, two steps back, two steps forward, three steps like this. And I can see how like I was constantly here, like below the ground level of processing all the traumas, processing all the things that were stored. And then no matter how much work I did, I still in the end felt bad, because every little drop of energy that I felt that I could use for building my life, building my business, building my like whatever I want, my dream life, all this energy was sent back to deal with the past, deal with the traumas, deal with those like things that were stored there. And as a side note, I must say it, especially if you are a parent and you're watching it, it's really important. If you are not seeing your child suffering, it doesn't mean that they don't suffer. Until the age of 8, or maybe even further, but I would say until the age of 8, kids are just like super kids. They're like just at the age of 8, from how I remember, the brain of the child is still actively developed and is still looking out in the world and is collecting all the things that they want to, like they try to understand the world. So they look to the outer world for the direction, and they writing down everything that they see. So even though they're gonna be feeling sad or depressed, it will be most likely like 99%, depending on the level of how much they process, they will be still like acting like kids and jumping, and you will never see their suffering, because all the suffering, all the traumas, they're sent there to the back, to the subconscious mind. And so you see a happy child, and then at the age of 13 or 12 or 14, suddenly your child goes from this like cute little like joy bundle into a full-time nightmare. And you're like, well, this is how puberty is. This is not how puberty is. This is how puberty is when the child came into the puberty with this big bag, like Santa, big bag of stuff that they stored, and now they need to process it. So I guess this is another way to say that don't forget to make an appointment to a psychologist when your child is like when they just turn 12, 13, and 14. It's time to start, even though you think your child is fantastic and great. Recall some stuff from the past that maybe you did, maybe you and your partner did, arguments and stuff. Believe me, your child has a lot to process. Don't wait until they're 25 or 26, how it happened to me. And then like it's a full-time nightmare of dealing with that. I wish that it was as important and as popular these days as at the time when I was a teenager. So then the earlier you start, by the age of let's say 25, you can already process through this stuff and then live happily ever after. Unfortunately, I started with therapy 5 years ago. So, and then I started feeling happy finally only when I'm like after my 30s and in my 30s, I mean. But my 20s were just nightmare with all the energy would go to processing stuff. And if you are 30 or 40, you're an adult, let's put aside the kids conversation, and you're still thinking that like, I don't freaking care, I'm fine, and she talks nonsense and all of that, then wait a little bit more. But I'm not trying to like scare you, but I am. Because it just depends on how much energy you have. Sometimes, and it's actually the most devastating. The earlier you start experiencing this, because we are all traumatized. Let's start with that. We are all traumatized. The earlier you start in experiencing it in the conscious level and process it, the easier it would be. That's why people are so afraid of the midlife crises, just because you came, you brought it to your puberty, you brought it to your marriage, you brought it to your like parenthood with all the postpartum depressions and stuff, and then it's bigger and it's bigger and it doubles a year, and you come into your like midlife with this like bag that is like already like impossible to carry, and there you go, and then you start like processing it, and I tell you don't want to do that. So the earlier you start addressing these things, the better. How would you understand something's wrong? Physical problems with your health, mental health problems. Wait, mental and physical health problems. So coming back to that story of today, I woke up, I didn't feel great. I know from all the things that I just told you, I know how to analyze. And I was like, how did I feel lately? And then I was recalling all the how I felt defensive, how I felt this, and then I realized that those hikes were a little bit too putting me like more on a like survival side. It's really extreme. I'm trying not to do it openly now. Sometimes it's for pleasure. Sometimes you're wasting energy on experiences like that. Sometimes they like actually get you out of your shell and you feel great. It depends. So I realized that there's a big chance that I got sick because I got overwhelmed with the experiences that I lately had. Hikes, maybe some arguments with my partner, little small things, and then always I also had very difficult psychology sessions and metaphorical card sessions that really opened up so much. It's been now almost actually, no, it's been actually exactly 3 weeks, and I'm still dealing with it. It's not easy, but I've been at it for like full time 5 years, and I'm processing deeper stuff and more deeper stuff and deeper stuff. As a result, the more I process it, the more I feel like how I have more space inside, even my brain, like for things that I wanted for a very long time in like self-development and self-expression, have energy for it right now. So this is exactly how I analyze it all the time. I was like, okay, I'm not feeling great emotionally. I'm analyzing and I'm like sensing, okay, it doesn't feel like it's something that is somebody did, so it nobody affected me. It's something that I am processing. I got sick, but I felt like I'm not feeling all those feelings because of that. And I realized, okay, I need to go and work deeper. I wanted to do some breathing. I tried to. I felt how I am like trying to escape feeling what I'm feeling. And I was like, okay, it's time, I guess. So I know what to do. I slowly started like connecting to my body. just like rubbing palms and sensing, like trying to sense, am I really tense? Am I not tense? And then the more I connected to myself, the more I was like, oh my gosh, every little, even now, it's still here. Even though after the practice it will take some time before it goes completely away. I felt how every inch of my body is tense like this, especially like my face was so tense, and how I'm like, the deeper I would go in analyzing, and the more I understood that I am my nervous system. And this is the first step of me always analyzing what state am I at, like, of my nervous system. I don't remember the name, am I like basically in the joy and happiness state? Am I flight or fight or flight state? Am I in a state of freeze? Or am I in a state of like collapsing? And I felt that I am more into the state of actually collapsing. That I felt that I am collapsed. I felt that I was trying to deny it and not deal with it at all. So this is the state where you just want to be a little like this. You don't want to move. There's a lot of stuff going on inside you're not able to deal with. And then I already know how it works. So I was like, okay, I am at the state of my nervous system. I'm shut down. My body doesn't want to be moved. Everything is so tense. And the more I would connect, the more I would understand that beneath there's a lot of fear. So then I moved to stage number 2, and I started feeling a lot of that I want to like run away from it. I was like, that's still good. At least I'm feeling something right now. I got myself from the state of not feeling anything to the state of feeling afraid. And I was like, okay, now it's time to process it. And this is where the spirituality comes from. I can do psychological tricks and techniques. I can do different stuff, but I just prefer to do spiritual stuff, exercises. And they are still, even though you think like, whoa, it's just some chick in the middle of the desert that sing. How crazy is that? But there's so much that we don't understand about our body and how it actually works. The medicine know every little single detail, but there are different approaches to understanding the energy that medicine actually does not even like take into the account and all of that. I know that I am in the process and in a stage of deep fear inside of me that I don't understand where it came from. I'm not feeling great. So I slowly let myself outside and I started doing like this. I usually start with like slightly movements, usually in a state like that. Even moving your body like that feels unsafe, feels very scary. And even though you see me like just like doing the stuff, you don't know how I feel inside. Usually in a process like that, emotions like stored traumas and stored emotions in the process of movement, like this, like that. That kind of sounds like, it looks like deep shit spirituality. Like whoa, actually is nothing more, nothing less than just somatic experiencing, which is stored emotions, stored traumas in the process of me doing movement, connecting to my body, like seeing, okay, it's tense. Okay, it's tense here. Okay, it's tense here. And then you do a little bit like self-massaging. Then you can move into like, uh, you know, just kind of like examining where's the tension. Then you can find, okay, it's in the neck. You can stay with it a little bit and breathe into this part. You can find it, maybe it's in the stomach, maybe it's somewhere. Sometimes in the process of me connecting to it, I can realize that I'm afraid to make a movement and I'm afraid to make a sound. And it requires very like honesty, a lot of honesty and bravery to deal with it. Not to just be like, nah, I'm fine. I'm never afraid. It's great. Not like that. This is how we've been taught to do, but you know what I want to say? Be honest with yourself. If you don't want to do it in front of other people and put it on YouTube like me, then do it. Do it alone at home when nobody can see you. Because it's gonna still help you. I couldn't talk in the morning today. My voice was completely down. I had to write down messages to my partner about like what we're gonna be doing. But it happens now third time this year, and each time the intensity is less. Those feelings still arise. I sometimes this PTSD, these traumas are like attacking me, but I know what to do, and I know already myself what to do. So it's not about defining these techniques and calling them the correct name. Who cares? I say, as long as it works, who the hell cares? Who cares? Whether it's spiritual, whether it's science, but I betcha. I studied it in university, and this is why I like really appreciated like that university where I studied. There are two of them in the country. What is the name of the first one? I think I forgot, but there are two of them that really unite the science and spirituality into one same like approach. It's so valid as long as it works. You're not denying this, you're not denying this. You just, especially nobody tells you like when it's time for surgery to dance with the drama in the forest. That's not time for it. But it is time for it when you feel you're afraid, you're collapsed, or you don't feel anything, but you're sitting at home for the whole week eating popcorn and watching movies. But you have no idea how you feel. You're like, sometimes, this is the problem. When you're in a state like that, you don't feel anything, and you feel like you're doing great. But if you're not crying, if you're not feeling joy, if you're not feeling emotions, something is wrong. Because emotions are energy. When we're afraid, we run. When we are angry, we attack. When we are joyful, we jump. Look at kids. This is what they call energy. Movement, moving of energy. It's all emotions. But they also have this like energetical approach to them. So that, I don't know, I'm not gonna go into like explaining it now, but Google and see. Maybe there is some information available to public. I studied in university. I don't really know on the top of my head what to recommend, but when I was sitting there outside, I felt super collapsed. I felt that I could not talk because I couldn't talk at all. I felt that my body is in a lot of pain. And when I recognized that that pain is actually emotional and something to do with stuck emotions inside, and as a result, stuck energy inside, I started doing that. I was able to, I still feel a little bit shut down, I have to say. I don't know what happened. At some point, anything can happen. But when you are going about your day, and like, for example, you spend a week, just observe. If you spend a week without experiencing joy or sadness or any emotions, then most likely you are in a state of collapse. You're just not feeling anything. But that doesn't mean you're great. That can mean, and actually, second stage of coming out of it would be experiencing either fear, flight, or anger, fight. And usually people are so afraid of like feeling that. They're like, oh my god, something is wrong. When they felt numb and nothing, it felt like it's good. But when they started feeling that, it just immediately felt something is wrong. And actually, during that practice, I was able to get myself out of the numb state into state of feeling fear. And the spiritual dances, they're nothing less but just like attempt to reawaken my body, because I'm shut down like that. Shoulders like that, and I'm working. I have a really big problem with my neck because I have like PTSD and all the traumas that made me constantly be like my body being alarmed and being afraid. So I'm doing a lot of techniques and a lot of like massage techniques and working with traumas techniques and physical therapy. Like, it's not just this, not just that. We're not just praying here for the God to save us. We're not just dancing with the trauma in the forest. Neither we are going straight ahead for surgery. There has to be an approach where you, like for example, today, like, if I can stick with like honey and syrups, with whatever, like I don't know, elderberries and vitamin D's, it's great. But if I can't, like for example, first time when these all came out to the surface, I waited 3 weeks, and my doctor also recommended it, not to rush antibiotics, but we cannot always work through things like that with just dances. And I waited 3 weeks for the first time, and then I started taking antibiotics. And it's the union of two worlds. And I think we must use this privilege in using both. Not to go too much to the right, to the head, not to go too much to the left, to like whatever, like whatever it is, spiritual stuff. So the important thing is that I got myself in these dances. I felt how I'm afraid to make a movement, afraid to make a sound. Maybe it's something that came out from like childhood. I wanted to stomp my feet like against the floor like that, but then my body was like, no, don't do it. Don't make a sound. Don't make a sound. That's bad. You're gonna be hurt. And then I realized, okay, something is from the childhood. And I started, as you saw, I started stomping my legs like this, like, no, we're gonna be safe. No, we're gonna be safe. And I was like, even like provoking that. I was like trying to awake this feeling of protector within me, my anger. And so while I was doing it, and I have actually big problem with experiencing anger, even though people see me now angry, that like I'm sometimes going very fast off the handle and I'm being like angry, but it's because I've never experienced it in my life, and I was prohibited to feel anger. And I only started to connecting to my anger maybe last year or two. So, and this is necessary for the trauma processing, because traumas, and especially in the like autoimmune disease, you get your immune system, you also like energy to protect yourself, to get that anger and attack. Instead, you're prohibited to feel anger, and that whole energy just like turns around and goes right back at you. And this is where autoimmune starts, and this is actually my case as well. I recall the story past few days ago when I felt a lot of anger. And it doesn't mean that you need to like start like destroying everything around you. Feel a lot of anger. And then say, can you stop doing that? Can you listen to me? Like, it's a calm, but it's still the there's still anger. Anger is about protecting ourselves, protecting our boundaries. That's why all emotions are important. So in that situation, I couldn't do it. I was like, I really don't want to ruin the day. It feels so great. If I tell something now from the position of anger, then it's the whole conversation. And I was like, I'll just let it slide. And then, but I felt angry. And then I felt irritation. And that stays inside. If you don't let it out, you can also let it out in a civilized way. The more you collect in your baggage, the less civilized it will be. One of my instructors, even before university, once said in the course of psychosomatics, she was like, the best example would be your stomach. She was like, I know it's gross, but you understand. Imagine like you need to poop, but you don't do it. Poops are ugly. So is like the anger. It is ugly. We don't want it. Go away. We're princesses. We want to just be polite. Thank you very much. Thank you. I did this. I did that. Shopping was so good. Like we want to be so nice, and we forget about that. There's situations where we need to say, okay, thank you very much. I want you to stop doing that, please. That's still anger, still protecting the boundaries, but in a civilized way. But still, people are most of the time afraid of those emotions, like they try to just like catapult them out, and then this happens. You don't know how to protect yourself. You don't know how to experience anger. It goes against you. So today, in these dances, I was trying to connect to my anger, connect to any actual emotion, because I felt nothing. I was concerned because I always feel everything, and then I could not feel nothing. And I was like, okay, I felt like this is how something deep inside me feels, like this. And slowly I started like with emotions, with sound, because I also feel like sound is not safe. I started doing it. I felt that it's shameful. Don't you think I feel shame? I do feel shame. I felt that it's crazy. I felt that it's weird. I felt that it's shameful. I felt that I feel guilty about it. I felt afraid, and I felt so much, but I was like, no, we're doing it. We have to. And then I reconnected with my anger, and I know already what to do. I started feeling a lot of anger all of a sudden in about an hour later, because I re-evoked those emotions. And I started the practice of letting the anger out. Usually I do it with my psychologist, but it was just me here. So we find something that I can like, you know, reconnect with that anger and let it out on the pillow or something, which I still feel sad. But she was like, come on, it's better to let it out on the pillow than yourself, don't you think so? And I'm like, okay, that's true. So I was letting my anger out, and suddenly I started feeling like better. An hour after doing that, my voice started coming back. I couldn't talk this morning. My throat was killing me. My what is it? I forgot. Like whatever. Like this tube that is on the way to bronchitis. I'll put it here. The word. I'm sorry. Sometimes when I'm in the process of channeling, I'm not into my logical mind, so sometimes I can really like forget stuff because I'm like letting information through. So, and also it's not it usually happens primarily in my first language. So, does it look strange? Yeah, it does. Do I feel shame about it? I still do. Because if I were not to feel shame, I'll probably do it on my balcony in the city, but I don't. But I sometimes feel that and I did it in Hawaii actually, on all these hikes where I was reconnecting with myself, the self-discovery, the healing, I was like, it's time. I felt that I'm in this little box and that everybody's watching at me, and that it's just so like, whoa, it's so scary, it's so horrible. And then even in this discomfort, I'm holding myself until let's do it. And now I woke up feeling sick, completely couldn't talk. I don't know if you heard people that can talk. I was like just like this. All the practices, all the releasing emotions, and there you go. Is it spiritual? Maybe. Can I explain from scientific way? I think I kinda did. Does it work? It does. Does it matter then if I'm, even if you are dancing naked in the forest and nobody sees you, like, it doesn't matter as long as it works. As long as it works and it's safe for you and it's safe for others. Physically, emotionally. Because sometimes we're just playing that part in the society, and we don't want that. Because our body has its own like rules and laws, and if we want to be healthy, happy, we gotta do it. So this is it for today. I hope I was able to guide you through this process and help you understand that spirituality is not that far away from the world of where you can explain everything and find explanation to every single thing that is going on in the world, where even a rainbow, like, or a cloud or a star, you know, not a miracle, but just like a ball of gas in the sky, or blah blah blah, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, even though you explain things, they still, some people just like this approach. But when my approach, I use both spirituality and both psychology. Psychology is science. Spirituality. I think there's union. So I hope next time you're not feeling great, if you collapsed, and maybe you found yourself in the examples that I provided, try it out. Start small. Put a timer to protect your rational mind, because it will go crazy at some point. When I just started, believe me, I was just like, my rational mind was like just running the show and screaming at me that I'm doing crazy stuff. But now it sees that it works, so then we gotta do it. Okay. I'm going back to the honey, to this, to my cough syrup, and to my tea. I really hope that I was able to share. I felt super complete now. I am grateful for you listening up until this point, if you still are. And I will be back with some more videos. Probably I'm going to post one more from the Village of the Outpost. And thank you so much for staying here with me and being on my YouTube channel. You know the drill. You've seen all these bloggers. Please support my channel as well. It's still brand new. I'm still starting out. I will be really, really grateful. And thank you so much again for watching. Bye.